I'm very honored to attend the third KSR, VSR Friendship Symposium. I'm Soo Yeon from Samsung Medical Center in Korea. I'd like to talk about the KSTHR thyroid guidelines about corneal biopsy. 2016, the Korean Society of Thyroid Radiology revised the consensus statement and recommendations for corneal biopsy of the thyroid nodules. This lecture is based on the contents of this article, so more information, please refer to this article. Although FNA shows a high diagnostic specificity and safety, it has limitations, including not perfect sensitivity, a false negative rate of up to 18%, inconclusive rates in initial FNA up to 20%, with high rate of inconclusive rates in repeat FNA, and low diagnostic accuracy for follicular lesions. So additional diagnostic tools are necessary to overcome the limitations of FNA for thyroid nodules. Advances in core biopsy devices and widespread use of high-resolution US make CMB to be effective and safety biopsy method for thyroid nodules. CMB has the potential to overcome the limitations of FNA by a large amount of tissue, architectural histologic structures, and immunohistochemical staining. Most guidelines suggest CMB as a complementary tool to FNA rather than the first-line diagnostic tool in cases with previous non-diagnostic FNA results, previous AUS, FLS FNA results, and suspicion of rare malignancy, and calcified thyroid nodules. So the first recommendation of KSTHR is the CMB could be an alternative to FNA in the evaluation of thyroid nodules in selected cases. CMB needles for thyroid nodules have the following characteristics, including 18-gauge diameter, 6 to 10 cm needle length, and 1.1 to 2.0 cm expression length. CMB needles are composed of two portions, stylet and cutting cannula. Stylet or inner needle has about 2 mm long sharply sloped tip to penetrate tissue, and a specimen notch for holding the sample tissue. Cutting cannula or outer blade plays a role in cutting the tissue and placing it on the specimen notch. CMB needles are divided into two types according to the mechanism of action: automated and semi-automated. Automated or double action needle is called double action needle because both inner and outer needles are spring activated. It can more easily penetrate hard tissue, but it may be more prone to adjust and tissue damage. Semi-automated needle is called single activation needle because spring activates just once. The stylet is manually introduced and followed by the spring activated needle. The second recommendation of KSTHR is that modern CMB devices, particularly 18 to 21 gauge spring activated core needles, are recommended for the procedure. Before the procedure, informed consent must be obtained from all patients after discussion about proposed procedure, possible complications, applications and reports. The use of drugs causing bleeding tendency, including aspirin, clopidogrel, warfarin, and heparin, should be checked. The anticoagulant schedule before the procedure and after the procedure are as follows. But anticoagulant withdrawal should be carefully discussed with the prescribing physician. The third recommendation of KSTHR is that patients with bleeding tendency, such as those taking anticoagulation medications or with disorder affecting the coagulation cascade, should be completely evaluated and any problems corrected before CMB. As you know, experience is one of the most important factors of CMB safety. Before the procedure, the nodule size, position, characteristics, and vascularity should be evaluated by grayscale and US. Using these information, the operator should decide the appropriate type of CMB needle and approach route. The most suitable route is trans-ischemic approach. Let me tell you about the CMB procedure. Local anesthesia with 1% lidocaine through the route is recommended. After direct skin puncture, insert the core needle through the isthmus, and all procedures must be monitored during the procedure. Before firing the stylet, the anticipated moving distance of the stylet should be exactly estimated. After confirmation, the safety of the imagining route, we can fire the stylet followed by cutting cannula. I will see you again after confirmation. Fire the stylet followed by the cannula. And manual compression must be applied immediately after the procedure for 20 to 30 minutes. When the needle is located in the near the thyroid capsule, stylet should be inside the capsule to prevent vascular injury. And the nodule is located in the posterior area of the thyroid gland. First, insert the stylet into the nodule by manually advance the stylet. Then elevate the nodule using the inserted stylet like a lever movement. After confirmation of the safety, then the operator can fire the out cannula. When a nodule has a fibrosis or calcification, the operator can try to stab the nodule with a needle tip to find out a weak point. Biopsy technique using guiding needle can be useful for multiple sampling. The fourth recommendation of KSTHR is that CMB should be performed by an experienced operator under US guidance, and manual compression of the biopsy site should be performed immediately after the procedure for 20 to 30 minutes. Let's move on to the clinical outcomes of CMB. Non-diagnostic result is one of the problems of FNA. So non-diagnostic FNA result shows a broad range of malignancy rates, and although about 48% will, up to 48% will once again be non-diagnostic with second FNA. And the current guidelines recommend repeat FNA or surgery. Several guidelines have proposed CMB for thyroid nodule nodules with very previous non-diagnostic FNA result as a complementary tool. The fifth recommendation of KSTHR is that CMB can be used as an alternative to FNA for thyroid nodules with non-diagnostic cytology in previous FNA. AUS and FLS is one of limitation of FNA. Its instance is reported up to 20% of FNA, and the malignancy risk of this category is between 15 and 25% according to the Bethesda system. Some guidelines recommended repeat FNA for these nodules, but repeat FNA shows an undiagnostic rate of 1 to 7%, and repeat AUS and FLS rate of up to 31%. The recently revised ATA guidelines proposed the repeat FNA or molecular testing be used and the surgical excision be performed with consideration of clinical and US features. But it is true that CMB showed a lower rate of AUS and FLS result than FNA. So sixth recommendation of KSTHR is that CMB may be used as an alternative to FNA for thyroid nodules with AUS and FLS in previous FNA. CMB is not recommended by current guidelines for the differentiation of follicular adenoma and carcinoma. However, the differentiation of follicular neoplasm from nodular hyperplasia is also important for avoiding unnecessary surgery in clinical practice. The seventh recommendation of KSTHR is that CMB has advantages to differentiate encapsulated follicular neoplasms from non-neoplastic nodule, and CMB cannot differentiate follicular thyroid carcinoma from follicular adenoma. In 2016, our co-worker suggested the modified CMB technique for nodules which are suspected of follicular neoplasm. A modified technique contains the nodule and capsular portion and the surrounding parenchyma. It's more effective in diagnostic field compared with the conventional method that biopsies the intranodular portion only. 2017, according to my research, US guided CMB for cytologically inconclusive thyroid nodules should obtain at least 2 core specimens. But in cases of particularly thyroid carcinoma, best result can be expected when a single biopsy retrieves well-targeted nodule tissue, intranodular target. But the differentiation between follicular neoplasm and nodular hyperplasia is needed to margin targets using the modified biopsy technique are required. Calcification has been reported to be an important factor related to FNA failure. CMB obtains fewer inconclusive diagnoses than FNA and could minimize the need for diagnostic surgery in patients with calcified thyroid nodules. So, 18th recommendation of KSTHR is that CMB may be used as an alternative to FNA for calcified thyroid nodules. According to the several studies, as a first-line diagnostic tool, CMB reported a high diagnostic accuracy, low non-diagnostic rate, low rate of false negative result, and low complication rate. CMB may be considered an effective diagnostic tool for initially detected thyroid nodules, especially for thyroid nodules with suspicious US features, but the utility of CMB as a first-line diagnostic cure for these nodules is uncertain based on current evidence. CMB has been reported to be useful for some malignant thyroid lesions, especially lymphoma, anaplastic carcinoma, and medullary carcinoma. And CMB has also excellent diagnostic performance in the management of US cytologic discordant nodules and improved diagnostic confidence through the histologic information obtained from CMB specimens. Regarding the diagnostic accuracy of thyroid malignancy, the specificities for CMB and FNA were very high, but the sensitivity was higher for CMB. CMB demonstrated significantly lower non-diagnostic result and inconclusive result than FNA. The reason for the false negative cases of CMB were targeting error, large nodule with heterogeneous component, and cancers with severe calcifications or fibrosis. After CMB, various complications may occur, including pain and discomfort. The reported complication rate is very low, but to avoid complications, CMB should be performed by an expert with continuous monitoring of the tip during the procedure. So understanding the neck anatomy, anatomical variations, and potential complications is also required for the safe performance of CMB. So our last recommendation is that CMB is safe, well tolerated, and associated with a low instance of complications when performed by experienced operators. There are some limitations to be overcome in the future. The first one is lack of standardization in the CMB pathology classification. Second, the added value of molecular test to CMB is insufficient and debatable yet. Third, large multi-center or multinational prospective studies are necessary to establish the indications of CMB of thyroid nodules. Last, cost-effective analysis according to the individual country should be performed. So, in conclusion, the KSTHR has suggested these recommendations to improve the efficacy and safety of CMB in the diagnosis of thyroid nodules. And operators performing CMB should know the basic CMB techniques and pericyrodal anatomy, and should have experience with image-guided interventions. Thank you for your attention.